we have convinced ourselves that human history is a linear path from savagery to progress. But deep in the mountains of China, there lies evidence that shatters this comfortable illusion. In 1938, Chinese archaeologist Chi Pute led an expedition into the remote Bayankara Ula Mountains on the border between China and Tibet. They were exploring a series of caves that had been artificially carved and interconnected by a precise tunnel system. The walls were smooth and glazed, as if cut by extreme heat. Inside, they found ancient burial sites, but these were not ordinary graves. The skeletons were strange. They measured only 130 centimeters tall, with disproportionately large skulls and thin, fragile bones. Local legends spoke of the Dropa and Ham tribes, small yellow-faced people who came from the clouds. But the most disturbing discovery was yet to come. Scattered throughout the caves were 716 stone discs, each about 30 centimeters in diameter, with a perfectly circular hole in the center. They looked like ancient vinyl records made of granite. When scientists finally examined these discs under magnification, they discovered something impossible. The surfaces were covered with microscopic grooves, forming a continuous spiral from the center to the edge, just like a phonograph record. But these weren't decorative patterns. They were writing, tiny hieroglyphs, so small they could barely be seen with the naked eye. It took more than 20 years before Professor Tsum Umnui of Beijing Academy managed to partially decode the message. What he translated was so shocking that the Academy forbade him from publishing his findings. According to the translation, 12,000 years ago, a spacecraft crash-landed in these mountains. The survivors, called the Dropa, could not repair their ship and were stranded on Earth. The local Ham tribe initially attacked them, mistaking them for demons, until they understood the Dropa came in peace. The discs were their historical record, carved in stone because they had no other materials. But here's what terrifies scientists. When Soviet researchers tested the discs in 1968, they discovered the granite contained high concentrations of cobalt and other metallic substances. When placed on a special turntable, the discs vibrated and hummed as if an electric charge still passed through them after 12,000 years. The grooves weren't just text. They were data storage, a technology we only developed in the 20th century. But someone carved digital information into stone 120 centuries before us. Most of these discs have mysteriously disappeared from museums. Only a few remain, locked away in private collections. Were they hidden because they proved we are not alone? Or because they revealed that whoever created them possessed technology far beyond our current capabilities? The caves remain, silent witnesses to a crash landing that changed everything. And somewhere in those mountains, there might be more discs, still humming with their ancient electric song, waiting to tell us the rest of the story we're not ready to hear. In 1929, a group of historians was cataloging ancient manuscripts in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul when they discovered something that would shake the foundations of geographic history. Hidden in the palace archives was a fragment of a map drawn on gazelle skin parchment. The map was dated 1513 and signed by Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis. At first glance, it seemed like just another Renaissance-era nautical chart. But when experts examined it closely, they realized this map contained information that should have been impossible in 1513. The Piri Reis map shows the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and most disturbingly, the northern coast of Antarctica. But here's the problem. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820, more than 300 years after this map was created. Even more impossible, the map shows Antarctica's coastline as it exists beneath the ice, a coastline that has been buried under kilometers of ice for at least 6,000 years. We only confirmed this hidden coastline's shape in 1949 using modern seismic equipment and ground-penetrating radar. Piri Reis himself wrote notes on the map stating he compiled it from about 20 source maps, some dating back to the time of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC. He also mentioned using maps captured from Christopher Columbus. But even Columbus couldn't have known about Antarctica's ice-free coastline. The accuracy is terrifying. In 1960, the US Air Force commissioned a detailed study of the map. Their conclusion stated that the map shows features with a degree of accuracy that suggests the original source maps were created using aerial survey techniques. But this was 1513, or rather, the source maps were potentially thousands of years older. The mathematical projection used to create the map is also deeply disturbing. Modern cartographers discovered that Piri Reis used spherical trigonometry to project a globe onto a flat surface, maintaining accurate distances and angles. This level of mathematical sophistication wasn't supposedly achieved in Europe until the 18th century. To create such a map, you would need to know the exact circumference of the Earth and have the ability to take measurements from high altitude, possibly from the air or even from space. Some researchers believe the source maps came from the legendary Library of Alexandria before it burned, maps created by an advanced ancient civilization that existed before the last ice age. This civilization had the technology to map the entire world from above when Antarctica was still ice-free. But who were they? And what cataclysm destroyed them so completely that only their maps survived? The Piri Reis map might be a fragment of an ancient atlas created by a civilization that watched our planet from the sky, carefully documenting every coastline before disaster struck. The most chilling detail is in Piri Reis's own notes. He wrote that the maps he used came from the time of Alexander, but the lands shown were unknown in Alexander's time. He was copying maps of places that existed before recorded history. We hold in our hands a 500-year-old copy of maps that are thousands of years older, showing a world that vanished beneath ice and ocean. And somewhere in the buried ruins of ancient libraries, or sealed in undiscovered tombs, there might be more maps showing us how our planet looked when others ruled it. In the dark corridors of the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, Egypt, there exists a carving that has divided archaeologists and engineers for over a century. On the walls of a small underground crypt, ancient Egyptian artists left us an image that looks disturbingly familiar to anyone who has seen modern electrical equipment. The carvings show large bulb-shaped objects with wavy lines inside, resembling electrical filaments or plasma. Figures hold these objects, which are connected by braided cables to box-like objects that engineers immediately recognize as power sources or batteries. The official explanation from Egyptologists is that these are lotus flowers and snakes, symbolic representations of Egyptian mythology. But electrical engineers who examine these carvings tell a completely different story. The proportions, the internal structure, the connection methods, everything matches the design of Crookes tubes, early vacuum tubes invented in the 19th century. The wavy serpent inside the bulb looks exactly like the behavior of plasma discharge in a low-pressure environment. The boxes at the base resemble modern electrical insulators or transformer housings. But here is what makes this truly disturbing. These carvings are located in the Temple of Hathor, built around 50 BC, but the crypt itself contains inscriptions suggesting it was constructed using knowledge from texts that were already thousands of years old at that time. The Egyptians were copying something from their own forgotten past. If these relief carvings truly depict electrical lighting, it would explain one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. How did ancient Egyptians illuminate the deep interior chambers of pyramids and tombs, while painting elaborate colorful frescoes in total darkness? When you examine the ceilings and walls of these ancient structures with modern equipment, you find no trace of soot or smoke from torches or oil lamps. The paint pigments are pristine, The air quality in sealed tombs shows no carbon residue from burning. Yet somehow, artists worked in these pitch-black chambers for months, creating masterpieces that required perfect lighting to execute. Mirrors and reflected sunlight, the standard archaeological explanation, cannot reach deep into winding corridors that turn multiple corners. The light would be too dim and indirect for detailed artistic work. In the 1990s, engineers attempted to recreate the Dendera light using the exact specifications shown in the carvings. They built a working Crookes tube following the ancient design, powered by a replica of the Baghdad battery we discussed earlier. The result was shocking. The device produced a soft, steady glow bright enough to illuminate a small chamber. It worked. Ancient Egyptians might have possessed electrical lighting technology that was lost when their civilization declined, only to be rediscovered 4,000 years later by scientists who thought they were inventing something completely new. But the most terrifying question remains unanswered. If ancient Egyptians had electric lights, what else did they have? The Dendera temple complex contains other mysterious carvings showing what appear to be light switches, cable management systems, and even what some researchers claim looks like a power distribution grid. Were the pyramids more than tombs? Were they power plants, as some engineers suggest, using the Earth's natural electromagnetic fields to generate electricity? The Dendera light might be our only remaining evidence of an advanced technological civilization that existed in Egypt's pre-dynastic period, a civilization so advanced they could turn night into day at the flip of a switch. High in the Peruvian Andes, overlooking the ancient city of Cusco, stands a structure that defies every principle of primitive construction. Sacsayhuaman is a massive fortress built from stones so precisely cut and fitted together that you cannot slide a piece of paper between them. But the true horror lies in the size of these stones. Some blocks weigh over 200 tons. The largest stone, called the Tired Stone, weighs an estimated 340 tons. These are not simple rectangular blocks. They are irregular multi-sided polygons with sometimes 12 or more corners, each one fitting perfectly against its neighbors like a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. According to mainstream archaeology, this fortress was built by the Inca civilization around 1438 AD using only bronze chisels, stone hammers, and human labor. They claim tens of thousands of workers spent decades moving these megalithic blocks from quarries located 20 kilometers away. But when modern engineers examine Sacsayhuaman, they immediately recognize an impossible problem. To cut and shape andesite stone, which ranks 7 on the Mohs hardness scale, you need tools harder than the stone itself. Bronze, which the Incas supposedly used, ranks only 3 on the Mohs scale. You cannot cut hard stone with soft metal any more than you can cut steel with a butter knife. Even more disturbing is the precision. When laser scanning technology was used to map the stones, researchers discovered the surfaces were perfectly flat to within fractions of a millimeter across spans of several meters. The angles where stones meet are not random. They follow complex geometric patterns suggesting advanced mathematical knowledge. Some joints are so precise that modern stonemasons, using diamond-tipped power tools and laser guides, cannot replicate the accuracy. The ancient builders achieved tolerances that we can barely match with our most advanced technology. But the nightmare deepens when you consider the logistics. How do you move a 200-ton stone block over mountain terrain? Modern cranes can barely lift such weight. The largest mobile crane in the world can lift about 1,200 tons, but it weighs 4,000 tons itself and requires a crew of specialists to operate. The Incas supposedly used wooden logs as rollers, but tests show that wooden rollers would be crushed to splinters under such weight. The friction alone would require thousands of people pulling ropes, and the coordination needed would be astronomical. Then there's the problem of elevation. The quarry sits at a different altitude than Sacsayhuaman. These multi-ton blocks had to be moved up and down steep mountain slopes. Some researchers propose a chilling alternative. What if these stones were not moved at all? What if they were cast in place using a now-lost geopolymer technology? Analysis of some stones shows microscopic air bubbles and a different crystalline structure than natural andesite, suggesting they might be ancient concrete poured into molds. If this is true, the Incas or whoever built Sacsayhuaman possessed chemical knowledge that could soften rock like clay, mold it into precise shapes, then reharden it into stone. This would explain the perfect fits and impossible angles. But where did this technology come from, and why was it completely forgotten? The most terrifying detail is what the Incas themselves said about Sacsayhuaman. When Spanish conquistadors asked who built these walls, the Incas replied, "We did not build this. It was here when we arrived, built by the gods in a single night." Local legends speak of ancient giants who could move stones with sound, using devices that made rocks float like feathers. Archaeological evidence shows that Sacsayhuaman might be far older than 1438 AD. Some estimates place construction at 12,000 years ago or earlier, built by a civilization that existed before the last ice age. We are looking at the ruins of technology so advanced, it appears magical, built by people whose very existence has been erased from history. In the darkest corners of museum storage facilities and private collections around the world, there exist artifacts so controversial that mainstream archaeology refuses to acknowledge their true implications. These are the crystal skulls, life-sized human skulls carved from single pieces of pure quartz crystal. The most famous is the Mitchell-Hedges skull, discovered in 1924 in the ruins of a Mayan temple in Belize. When examined under electron microscopes, this skull revealed a secret that terrified scientists. It showed absolutely no tool marks whatsoever. Quartz crystal ranks 7 on the Mohs hardness scale, making it nearly as hard as diamond. To carve such detailed features into solid quartz, you need tools tipped with materials harder than quartz itself, essentially diamond or corundum abrasives. But even with modern rotary diamond tools running at thousands of revolutions per minute, creating a life-sized crystal skull would take a skilled artisan at least 1 year of continuous work. The Mitchell-Hedges skull is anatomically perfect, with a detachable jaw that moves on ball and socket joints, carved from the same crystal block. Modern gemologists estimate it would take 300 years of continuous hand polishing to create such an object using primitive technology. But the nightmare begins when you examine how it was made. In 1970, the skull was delivered to Hewlett-Packard Laboratories for analysis. The scientists there worked with crystal oscillators and understood quartz properties better than anyone. Their findings were published, but quickly buried. They discovered the skull was carved against the natural axis of the crystal. This should be impossible. When you work quartz against its molecular grain, it shatters into thousands of pieces. It's like trying to split wood against the grain, except quartz is millions of times more fragile under stress. The skull should not exist. Even more disturbing, HP scientists found microscopic precision in the optical properties. The skull acts as a lens and light pipe. When illuminated from below, light channels through the crystal and exits through the eye sockets with amplified intensity. The jawpiece contains internal prisms that split light into rainbow spectrums. This isn't accidental. Someone with advanced knowledge of crystallography, optics, and light refraction deliberately engineered these properties into the skull's structure. But the Mayans supposedly had no knowledge of optical science or crystal physics. Legends surrounding these skulls are even more unsettling. The Mitchell-Hedges family reported strange phenomena. The skull would change color in the presence of certain people, shifting from clear to cloudy to displaying rainbow halos. Witnesses claimed to see moving images inside the crystal, like a three-dimensional screen, showing scenes of ancient ceremonies or future events. Some who meditated with the skull reported hearing voices or experiencing downloaded information directly into their consciousness, as if the crystal was a storage device containing vast knowledge. There are 13 known crystal skulls in existence, scattered across the world. Ancient prophecy claims that when all 13 skulls are brought together and aligned, they will reveal crucial information needed to prevent a coming catastrophe. Some researchers believe these skulls are data storage devices created by an advanced civilization that existed before the flood. Quartz crystal can store information through atomic displacement, the same principle behind modern computer memory. Unlike our silicon chips that degrade in decades, information stored in quartz crystal remains stable for millions of years. The most terrifying possibility is this: what if these skulls are computers from a previous human civilization that achieved technology beyond our current level, then destroyed themselves? The skulls might contain their entire accumulated knowledge, their history, their warnings. We hold them in our hands, these transparent libraries of the lost world, but we don't know how to read them. We don't have the password, and time is running out to learn, because whoever made these skulls knew something we forgot. Civilizations are temporary, but crystal is forever. On February 13th, 1961, 3 rock hunters were searching for geodes in the Coso Mountains of California, near the town of Olancha. Wallace Lane, Virginia Maxey, and Mike Mikesell were experienced collectors who knew how to identify valuable specimens. They found what appeared to be a geode, a hollow rock lined with crystals inside. But when Mike Mikesell cut through it with a diamond saw blade back at his shop, the saw hit something hard that nearly ruined the blade. What he found inside would challenge everything we know about the history of technology. Inside, the 500,000-year-old rock was a perfectly preserved mechanical device. At the center was a metal shaft approximately 2 millimeters in diameter, surrounded by what appeared to be a ceramic collar or sleeve. Around this was a hexagonal casing made of copper, corroded but clearly artificial. X-ray analysis revealed even more disturbing details. The device contained a spring or coil of some kind, and the metal shaft was magnetic, suggesting it was made of iron or steel. This was not a natural formation. This was a manufactured electrical component embedded in stone that predated modern humans by 500,000 years. Geologists confirmed that the rock concretion encasing the device was genuine, formed through natural mineral deposition over hundreds of thousands of years. The fossils of ancient shells embedded in the rock matrix dated to the Pleistocene epoch, roughly 500,000 years ago. During that time, Homo sapiens did not exist. Our species only emerged about 300,000 years ago. Even Homo erectus, our evolutionary ancestor, was just learning to control fire and had not developed any metalworking capabilities. Yet here was a sophisticated device that looked disturbingly similar to a 1920s spark plug. Skeptics immediately claimed it was simply a modern spark plug that had accidentally been encased in a fast-forming concretion, perhaps over just 50 or 100 years. But this explanation fails on multiple points. First, the device's design doesn't match any known spark plug from the 20th century. The hexagonal copper casing and the specific internal configuration don't correspond to any manufacturer's specifications. Second, the level of corrosion and mineralization would require thousands of years, not decades. Third, and most damning, the rock contained ancient fossilized shells that carbon dating and geological stratification placed at 500,000 years old. The device was examined by engineers who specialized in electrical components. Their conclusion was unsettling. The object functioned as either a spark plug for an internal combustion engine or as a capacitor for energy storage. The ceramic insulator, the metal electrode, and the copper shielding all suggest a device designed to handle high-voltage electricity. But who was driving vehicles or using electrical equipment in the Pleistocene era. The official timeline of human development places the internal combustion engine's invention in 1876 by Nicholas Otto. This device predates that by 499,000 years. After its initial discovery and examination, the Koso artifact mysteriously disappeared. The original rock was reportedly damaged during analysis, and the pieces were lost or stolen from a private collection. Only X-ray photographs and written testimonies from the discoverers remain as evidence. Some researchers claim this was deliberate suppression, that powerful institutions wanted this evidence destroyed because it threatened the entire framework of human history. Others suggest the artifact was taken by collectors who understood its true value as proof of a previous technological civilization. The most terrifying interpretation is this: 500,000 years ago, someone was here with technology equivalent to or surpassing our early 20th century. They had electricity, machines, possibly vehicles. Then they vanished so completely that almost nothing remains except a single corroded component accidentally preserved in stone. What happened to them? Did they destroy themselves in a technological catastrophe? Did a natural cataclysm wipe them out? And most importantly, are we following the exact same path? The Koso artifact might be a warning from the deep past, showing us that advanced civilizations can disappear entirely, leaving only rust and questions buried in stone.